I'm Dr. Prithika Chary, and I'm the person who's invited all of you for this evening. Some of you know me, some of you don't know me, and this will be an opportunity for us to get to know each other. I am a neurologist and a neurosurgeon. I've been in active clinical practice in Chennai for the past 45 years. And I have, during the pandemic, also taken up coaching in a very serious way. Prior to that, I used to do offline workshops on call for corporates. I've done stress management for IIM Ahmedabad, IIM Indore, Lucas TVS, Accenture, Casa Grande. So we used to do stress management workshops, 1 day, 2 day, half a day, invited talks and keynote addresses. So this is the kind of thing, because that was something which I love doing. I'm very passionate about it. And I believe that God has blessed me with much more than I deserve. And I want to share as much of that as possible with as many people as possible in this lifetime. And that is the reason why I do this. We started Creative Karma in 1994. And from then, we just did this. But during the pandemic, 2 years I was sitting at home and doing online consultations. And I thought, by nature, I'm a very curious and very hungry to learn kind of person. So I did some hodgepodge developing improved technology skills. And since then, I got introduced to the words like Instagram and webinar and Zoom and all that. Before that, I didn't even know what all those were. I've never heard of Instagram till 2019. So once I started delving into that, I found it a lot of fun. So what started as fun, then I said, okay, I've been doing these offline things. Why don't I systematize it and make it into a regular online thing? Then I opened up one-to-one coaching. Some people opted for that. And in fact, I've done 3 months coaching for a person and finished only last week. And I found that this is a very wonderful thing to do. And I have upskilled myself further with a lot of international coaches and things, both on coaching, training, teaching, and even how to sort of get your point across, literally, better communication. So that is where I come from. And today it's my pleasure to be doing a mini workshop on what I recognize to be my micro niche. My major niche is brain health. My micro niche I discovered was resilience. Because over the years, I've helped thousands of patients regain their quality of life after a neurological illness, which unfortunately very frequently leaves behind either a limitation or a disability. But I've never discouraged my patients from getting back to their full lives as much as possible. I also specialize in epilepsy, where there is a lot of stigma and a lot of, misunderstanding and confusion. So there again, I've encouraged so many of my patients that they can study, they can marry, they can, work, they can have children, all of this. So I realized when I was upskilling myself under one of the trainers, where they were asking us to do niche identification, I realized what I'm doing is actually resilience. We're teaching people how to bounce back, how to overcome a setback, how to adapt to change, how to keep moving forward, even though you have a limitation or even though there's something not right happening in your life. And there are people here from Multiple Sclerosis Society of India. Multiple sclerosis, for instance, has disability, so you don't stop living. So I had been helping my patients to live their best lives as much as possible. And so I thought, yeah, that is what I'm going to be doing. So that is the micro niche coaching which I can do, because another reason is I will share my story in the course of the presentation. I know what it's like. So, how many of you feel that you can go through your life comfortably, confident that you are stress fit. No matter what happens, you will be able to get over it. How many of you feel you are stress fit? Show of hands, please. Thank you. How many of you feel you need help all the time to carry on with your life, to do what you do? Show of hands. Okay. So more people here feel that they can carry on. Few people here feel that they may need help. But let me tell you one thing. All of us, in some time or other in our life, need the help of others. And before we seek the help of others, we have to first make sure that we have done our best with ourselves. Otherwise, you become a dependent on somebody. And let me tell you, the first thing anybody wants in life is to be continuously dependent on somebody else. In fact, even for aging, they say at 60, you start living. And at 80, if you're independent, you can consider yourself very healthy. Because aging makes you a dependent. Disability makes you dependent. So it doesn't matter if there is something, you're 80 years old or you have a disability or whatever. My conviction is that if you do more for yourself, you can do what it takes to have a good life and not only be useful to you, but useful to others as well. Because each one of us are put on earth here for something very specific. Each one of us has a DNA which is a single DNA. So we need to understand that our DNA cannot be duplicated by anybody else. At the same time, you have to thrill yourself in your uniqueness. Because each one sitting here is unique in their own way. You may have certain unique features which I don't have. I may have something you don't have. But all of us have something. And in fact, I believe our duty is to express the piece of divinity which is within us. Because all of us have the divine in us. And we are bound in duty to express that divinity. And you do that when you live your life to your fullest, doing what you think you are put on earth for. Where you identify your purpose, where you identify what makes you tick, what gives you joy, what makes you feel, today is wonderful. So when we do resilience coaching, we bring you facts from state-of-the-art neuroscience. We explain to you how neuroscience plays a role. Because without the brain, we can't think, we can't do most of our functions. So I link the two and try to give you tips and tools and tricks by which you can, and hacks, by which you can improve your life. So let's get started. How many of you know, can we have these lights down, please? How many of you know what this creature is? It's written there, but have you ever seen a picture of this creature before? It's an animal in very low in the evolutionary scale. But what is unique about this fish, or walking fish as they are calling it, is that if it loses, if it loses these limbs, it's all cut off, it will regrow. If we cut off your arm doesn't regrow. But this primitive creature can regrow its tail, can regrow its limbs, but it cannot regrow its head, unfortunately. Because without the brain, which is in the head, it cannot regrow any part of its body. Then we've got this flatworm. Though this is more primitive than the salamander, it is a worm which you can chop into fine small pieces, and each one will recreate as a full worm with everything. the brain, the skin, the gut, and all other functional organs. Fantastic, isn't it? So this is what nature is. But as far as we humans are concerned, we don't have too much power of regeneration. Our bones knit, the wounds heal. I think I'm blocking the screen for you people. Okay. So our wounds heal. When you cut yourself, you don't go to a doctor unless it's a very deep cut. It heals on its own. And also, your liver, we know that you can cut portions of the liver and donate it to somebody else, and the liver can regenerate. But then we don't have much more than that, any chance of regeneration. So what is the natural healing capacity of the body? Does anybody want to venture an answer? Okay. We know that cells can heal themselves. What happens when a cell is injured or damaged? We know it can heal itself, it can replicate new cells, and it can regenerate and give you new cells in many parts of the body. Maybe the nervous system cells are the least powerful in regenerating and replicating, but places like the skin, the bone, the blood, all this is constantly, the damaged cell is got rid of, replication takes place. When you break a bone, we all know, 6 weeks they say put your arm in a plaster cast, it will heal. When your skin is cut, we know how the platelets come, stop the bleeding, then collagen grows, bridges the gap, and it heals. Like this daily wear and tear every day is being repaired, restored, rejuvenated in us. Now this state of constant maintaining the equilibrium of all functions in the body is called homeostasis. Now all that we do in our lives can positively or negatively influence homeostasis. So how does our body ward off our immune system? It's an amazing system. How does it ward off attackers from outside, which are trying to invade the body? We've got mucus traps in the nostrils. You don't appreciate it when you blow your nose, when you have a cold, you curse, oh, all this stuff is coming. That mucus is always there because it prevents a lot of dust and bad things from entering your nose. So there are mucus traps. There are natural killer cells in the blood which will go and capture a bacteria or anything which is coming and destroy it. When our body has something wrong with it, you'll find there's an inflammation. Now, inflammation by itself is the body's way of healing. When you have a high fever, the body is telling you that there is an infection, there is something happening, you need to take action and do something to repair it. So all of this is already happening in our bodies. Then there is regeneration also happening in our body. Now all of you would have heard all the craze about stem cell therapy. Everywhere, everybody, they're injecting stem cells into joints which are not working. They're doing all kinds of things with stem cells. And some of them are working, some of them are not working. But we are not giving up hope. And we keep trying stem cells for various things. They've even put it into the embryonic stem cells, put into the brains of Parkinson's patient. It worked in some people, it didn't work in some people. But that's okay. So we know that your skin cells, bone cells, all of them, they can regenerate. New fat cells can grow, new muscle cells can grow, new cartilage cells can grow. Then you got in the spinal cord and brain, you've got neural stem cells. The only difference is in the embryo, this stem cell has got, it's called a pluripotential stem cell. It can become anything, any tissue. But in the adult, if the brain is damaged, only neural stem cells can grow into neural stem cells. So except for that limitation, our bodies are continuously healing and recouping and rejuvenating on a daily basis. So don't you think, how many of you feel that this machine, which is our body, is priceless? And we are duty bound to take as good care of it as possible. But majority of us take it for granted. because it's silently continuing to maintain homeostasis, do all the work, do the repair work, do this, that, without your doing anything. So at least you can stop damaging it or blocking it. So that is what we are talking about, where your spirit, mind, brain, body, immune system link comes into play. It is a very real link, and it can be tapped into for us to live better lives. So how can we prevent the breakdown of this? We have now changed our way of practicing medicine. I'm an allopathic medicine trained doctor. We are doing what is now called functional medicine. We are also doing what is called regenerative medicine. And there is also something called epigenetics, of which we've all become very aware of now. So in functional medicine, what we do is we understand how the disease started, how it is progressing, and we try to break the complexity into simple components and address the cause behind the effect which we are seeing. So that is what functional medicine is. And regenerative medicine, we are already seeing. Your organ transplantation is a typical example of regenerative medicine. And your regenerative medicine also plays, even your stem cell transplant counts as a regenerative medicine. So the way we practice medicine is not just that prescription across the table. There's more to it than that. So resilience and lifestyle, we know, influences what is called as epigenetics. What is epigenetics? We are all born with genes which we inherit from our parents, and which somehow, some of the genes are unique to us. But these genes are not, silent, immobile, static structures. They are very active, and they can be switched on and switched off by our lifestyle factors. So you cannot heal the world until you heal yourself. And how do we heal ourselves? It's a very holistic way in which you can heal yourself. The first thing is a breath of fresh air. 90% of us don't breathe properly. We have this chest breathing, shallow breathing. We have forgotten how to breathe properly. Just beginning to breathe properly. That is why pranayama is so powerful. Just learning how to breathe properly and make sure that you are doing nice, full, deep breaths at least a few times in the course of the day. And you're doing what is called as belly breathing versus upper chest breathing. So you gulp a huge amount of air into this thing, push your tummy out, push the diaphragm down, push the tummy out, fill it with air, fill your lungs with air, and then suck it in again and then exhale. So that is why breathing is very important. How many of you feel that, okay, we'll do that, we'll do a little experiment. All of you, I'll time you. When I say hold your breath, hold your breath. Hold your breath. Okay, I don't want anybody fainting here. You can stop now. Have you ever thought that if you did not breathe when you woke up in the morning, you won't be alive? You see, when a person has a cardiac arrest or a respiratory arrest, there is only 3 minutes time for the brain before it gives up. If there's no circulation to the brain for 3 minutes, you can become easily brain dead. So let us first and foremost become very conscious about our breathing. I'm not going to take you in great detail. This is what I called it as an introduction to my rebooting the brain for resilience. This is just little things of what you will be learning in my course later. Okay? How to use food as fuel. By all means, have tasty food, enjoy your food, all that is fine. But many of us, we are just gorging food without thinking of the quality of the food as a fuel to your body and mind. So it's important for us to become aware of that. We have to get at least 6 to 7 hours of sleep every single day. How many of you get 6 hours of sleep every night? So there are some here who don't. Remember that during sleep, there is long-term memory imprinting takes place. During sleep, a lot of systems in the body are brought back to homeostasis. Rejuvenation, regeneration takes place. So actually, the current night shift system, too much international travel and lot of jet lag, all of these are disturbing what is called as chronobiology, or the way the body works with all its clocks, internal clocks, in tune with night and day. Okay? Right. Do you need me for anything, Bhuvna? For a photo, is it? The photographer is there anyway. Sorry? Close. Is that better? But I am looking down and talking, that's why. Now it's all right? Right. Okay. Yes? I am not going to be going into too much depth in this because this is just an intro session. But I will answer in the end a few questions so we can keep a hold that. So I do not believe in calling exercise. I call it pleasurable movement. So straight away, I have to wear my shoes and go to the gym. I have to go for a walk. I have to go running. That attitude towards your exercise goes away when you call it pleasurable movement. Pleasurable movement is, yes, dancing. Okay, but you can make every movement you do as a pleasurable movement if you make up your mind to do it. It's very crucial that we move. Whether you do a walk or an exercise or a yoga, it doesn't matter. Just move. Even now, I am moving. Okay, so it's important for you to learn to move. Social engagement. The COVID taught us this. I don't think I need to expand at all on this, how important social engagement is. Because man is a social animal. We need to interact with other people if we want to be happy and whole. So we cannot heal the body without healing the mind. So what is this rewiring your brain for resilience that I'm talking about? It rewires your mindset and teaches you how you can tap into your own body's healing and promote healing and prevent falling ill as well. So there is a mind-brain connection, there is a heart-brain connection, there is a gut-brain connection. So in effect, we actually have 3 brains. We have the head brain, which is logic and intellect. We have the heart brain, which is our emotions, our dreams, and our emotional health depends on that. And we have the gut brain, which is the instinct and intuition. Now there is a neurochemical called serotonin, which is a neurotransmitter which is deficient in people who are depressed. And 80% of the body's serotonin is not produced in this brain. It's produced in the gut brain. So which is the reason why when you're angry, when you're depressed, when you're frightened, your gut misbehaves. So there is such an intimate, because there's a whole nervous system inside the gut called the enteric nervous system. Most important, of course, is spiritual healing. Now for spiritual healing, it is our sense of meaning. Why do I get up every morning? How do I want to go through the day? What is it I want to do with my life? All of these are the questions you ask yourself when you sit down and contemplate on the divine, call the divine by whatever name you like, but you have to understand, identify your purpose and work on sharing that with the world, because you are unique. So what we need to do is get things into alignment. So if you look here, your IQ is what everybody is talking about. Everybody is checking the IQ, saying I've got to, see, I myself have got a lot of degrees, but that's not good enough, not for today's world. So IQ is your capability. PQ is your physical capability, your ability to get up, walk, move, talk, all that. EQ is not just your will, it is also the way you manage your emotions, both with yourself and with others. And here, your associative thinking, your flexibility, all of that come, and EQ is a very, very important component of resilience. And of course, you've got your SQ, which is your purpose, and your CQ, which is your creativity. When all of these are in alignment, you will live an optimal life, which gives you joy. Then you say, you're an allopathic doctor, you're standing here. When I come and see you as a patient, you write a prescription. I go and buy these pills from the pharmacy. Then what on earth is all this for? Why are you doing all this? If my body is capable of healing in these ways, we don't need you. What we do is what this nurse is doing in the lower part of the picture. We assist the body to heal. And there are some acute problems which unfortunately need active intervention. And the body cannot by itself do the job, so we assist. We are that nurse holding that man, or that walking stick helping that person. So that is what we allopathic doctors do. So sometimes we have to give you pills to treat you. But each patient, all of you have heard about Norman Cousins? He's the person who did laughter as a way of treatment. Because each patient carries his own doctor within him. We just have to tap into it. You bring it out and I have to help you bring it out. So where does resilience fit into all this? What is resilience? The American Psychological Association has put out a very strict definition. It is the process and outcome of successfully adapting to difficult or challenging life experiences, especially through mental, emotional, and behavioral flexibility and adjustment to both external and internal demands. That's a big mouthful. How many of you feel that you're fully equipped to be resilient through your life? Okay, a few hands, good. So what we are talking about is when you become resilient, fortunately resilience can be taught. When you acquire the skills of resilience, what you're doing is getting all this stuff which is malaligned here into alignment. So the physical, the emotional, the mental, the spiritual, everything comes into alignment. And when that happens, you just go with the flow. You just get into the zone and you just go with the flow. And once you've got your purpose very clear in your mind, you identify your purpose and just do it. Sounds so simple, isn't it? But how many of you feel it's not so simple? Right. So when we say healing happens, as far as the brain is concerned, nervous system is concerned, there is something known as neuroplasticity. Now, neuroplasticity is a wonderful thing that we are blessed with. When something damages the brain or the spinal cord, environmental inputs can help repair it. That is why neurorehabilitation, neuroplasticity is being utilized in many ways. Biofeedback, a lot of other things are being used to enhance the neuroplasticity. But neuroplasticity is not just when you have an injury. It is also in your daily life. So you can train your brain to work better, to rejuvenate better, regenerate better through neuroplasticity. Now what is neuroplasticity? It is, there is a path, a meadow here. So I walk down through the meadow one day, then the next day I walk again. 3 days later, I walk again. Then somebody else joins me. Then a fifth person, a group. So what happens? A path is created. Now, when we teach resilience, that is what we do with you. We give you a skill one by one, single skill by single skill, and create a path so that it takes 21 days to form a habit. It takes 66 days for it to be imprinted into you and become what is called as unconscious competence. So, what we do is we take you through that process and help you to build up your skills one by one. So that at the end of it, you've got this whole basket of things, which some you may have to consciously make an effort to practice, but some which will become automatic by the time of 66 days. So the ultimate hope is that one day we'll be able to coax injured tissue to execute the same repairs. So when we heal the body, we heal the soul. The soul heals the body heals the soul. So it's very crucial for us to get into what is called as holistic healing. We cannot say, I will improve my body, I'm toned, I've got a six-pack, I'm very strong physically. But are you equally strong mentally? Are you equally strong emotionally? Are you equally strong spiritually? That is very important. That is why that alignment comes into play. How many of you realize that you could go through life the same way as you're doing now, playing small? You never live your best life because you have a limitation, because you had a life challenge or a health challenge and you got a limitation. How many of you want to be your best and want my help to coach you? How many of you want to build your resilience like a strong armor so that you can face any knocks life deals out to you? How many of you want to have a high vibration and frequency at all times? You see, when we raise our vibration, we attract positive things. When we lower our vibration, what are the low vibration things? Anger is a low vibration frequency. So when we get into low vibration, we attract things which are not good for us. So what have I done? I've started this flagship program. My original workshop conducting was creative karma. That is what we started. I created a flagship program during the pandemic called Be Your Best with Dr.Prithika Chary. So the purpose of this is to rewire your brain, to improve your mindset, to give you better health outcomes, to help you to align your life, balanced, happy lives, and overall getting more stress fit. Okay? So what have I done for you? I've created a program, a special program. It is a 10-week virtual program. The start date is 2nd of January. It will be a 2-hour coaching on a live Zoom call from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Every Monday, you will receive a newsletter with a little video, which will set the theme for the week and which you will keep practicing and sort of inculcating into your brain till the Friday when you're going to come on to the live detailed coaching on that particular theme. So who should join for this? Anyone who wishes to take their stress fitness and resilience to the next level. So I'm already putting on my armor and I'm ready. If anything happens, I can handle it. Anyone who is struggling to regain quality of life after a life challenge or a health challenge. So you're struggling, I've got this. Do I have your permission to share my personal story? Yeah. In December 2016, I was diagnosed with cancer rectum grade 3. In fact, my colleague Dr. Bhuvneshwari is sitting at the back. So I had a procedure done by the gynecologist, and as a routine checkup, we did a CT scan. And when we did the CT scan, after the CT abdomen was done, I told her, she was there helping me out, I told her, okay, everything is fine, no, let me get up. She said, no, just lie down again. We're going to give you contrast, you have a mass in the rectum. So that's how I was introduced to my rectal cancer. So what should happen to us? Can I have a few responses under the same circumstances? How each of you would respond? Anybody? Okay, somebody says denial. Break down. You break down. shock,
Fear.
fear. Sorry?
What next?
What next? So, let me share with you that I went through all those emotions. Because we're all the same. I'm not anybody special. But I have been practicing my stress fitness for a long time. Because probably being a single woman on my own and being a woman in a man's world in my career and all this has over time honed my ability to be stress fit. Also, I consciously work on being stress fit, not just physically fit. So we went ahead and the next follow-up was automatically a colonoscopy, where they put something into your rectum, take a look at the tumor, take a biopsy, send it for, came back as adenocarcinoma grade 3, which means cancer. Then the doctors sat me down and told me, I asked, what is the way this cancer goes? Each cancer has got a way of behaving. So I asked, what is the way this cancer goes? They said, if you take treatment, you probably will have a reasonably good chance of another 3-4 years. But with treatment or without the proper treatment, you only have a 30 to 50% chance of being alive in 6 months. So I sat down, thought to myself, what shall I do? So how do you think my stress fitness helped me? I was able to formulate 3 steps. Step number 1, no matter how much anybody loves you or cares for you, they cannot suffer the cancer for you. You have to suffer it for yourself. So accept it. Till you accept, you're not going to deal with it. If I say nothing is wrong with me, how will I deal with it? So accept it. Once you accept it, you decide how to go about it. Now, these are all certain skills you're going to be learning in the resilience program. So, then I told myself, I'm a person who finds it very difficult asking for help. I've been a very independent, free spirit all my life. But I said, unless I ask for help, I can't manage this. Who's going to help me hold my head if I'm vomiting after chemotherapy? Or who's going to help me go and come? Or who's going to be with me after the surgery? All of these were questions. Yes, now I can engage a nurse, I can engage special people, everything. Family-wise, I've got people around me. My sisters were the only people around. And both of them are less fit than me physically. So I can't, trouble them too much. Up to a point, yes. So I said, I'm going to let people know I need help. And there are many people sitting in this hall who just rose like a wave, like a tsunami. They rose and saw me through the whole process. I take this opportunity to thank them for that. And so we were able to get to the 3rd step. The 3rd step was, the diagnosis was made, I'm now 75 years old, diagnosis was made when I was 69. I said, up to now I've lived a good life. I had diabetes, I had a head injury, I had hypertension, I had an appendicectomy. Nothing stopped me. I carry on with my life. So why should this stop me? And here I am. So I want this to be something I can share with other people as well. I've been there. I know what it is. So in this program, what will you learn? The 7 pillars of resilience, how to rewire your mindset, will be simple, practical daily rituals to create your own reality, tips, tools, hacks to tap into your body's own healing capacity, raising your vibration and frequency, and increasing all 4 sectors of your health, the physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. Now, that is the whole package that is part of this 10-week virtual program. Remember my story? I just told you, isn't it? Do you know how much I spent? Over 30 lakhs for my treatment. Over 20 lakhs loss of earning. Over 2 years downtime. Over 8 lakhs to organize and pay for support services. A lot of pain, a lot of discomfort, a lot of difficulty. So I know the pain. I've been through it. And I've been through a lot more in my life. And so I feel confident that I have the skills to assist others to do the same. You don't have to go through a cancer just to become stress fit. So what you need to do is, it's time for spring cleaning. Start with your mind. And that is the point of this program which we are doing. So what have I invested in my skill building? Can anybody guess? Because I've trained myself to be a coach, trainer, teacher with international and national coaches and trainers. How much do you think I could have invested in my skill building? Just a random figure. Anybody? Balaji, you say. Okay. So more than 1 crore on my medical education, more than 50 lakhs on becoming a trainer, coach and teacher, and more than 20 lakhs in setting up a virtual coaching platform. So that's what it's cost me to be standing here this evening. Now, why should you choose me? There's so many people, so many coaches, so many life coaches, brain coaches, this, that, they're all over the place. Why should you choose me? Because I have over 45 years in clinical practice in neurology and neurosurgery. I've helped over 5,000 patients to regain quality of life after a neurological challenge. I'm a cancer survivor, and I managed to beat it. So I think these are enough qualifications for me to be the one to help you. I also have knowledge and expertise about the brain. So I bring the scientific aspect to you. And I have the capacity, I hope you'll all agree, as I've done this evening, to simplify and communicate complex scientific information in very simple, clear language. Do you think so? Yeah. Okay, fine. Thank you. So, how much should the program tuition fee be? Any takers? It's a 10-week program, once a week, 2-hour Zoom session. That you're talking about 20 hours of active training. And video training, you're going to have 10 videos, which is lifetime access. So how much do you think we could charge for that? Come on, somebody say some figure, I say. Okay, 60 to 75,000. I'm going to be very honest with you. I know the amount of value that I'll be giving. But I have decided to do something very special for you because I like to go mad. I like to make a difference. And that is the orientation. That's what MAD stands for, making a difference. So, shall we charge you 1 lakh for 10 weeks, 20 sessions? Do you feel it's 1 lakh value? I think it is. It's more than 1 lakh value in my opinion. 50,000? 25,000? I'm not going to charge you 1 lakh. Though I spent, if you calculate what I have spent on being able to do this for you, I'm not going to charge you 1 lakh, not going to charge you 50,000, not going to charge you 25,000. So what then is my special offer? Okay. Go on, anybody. 20,000, one figure. Any other figures? 10,000. Okay. Everything, all the numbers are being said. So there's a handout being given to you that will give you the details of the program. It also has a payment link and a QR code at the bottom which you can use. You can join now to make 2023 a year of transformation and become aligned in mind, body and spirit. And if you take immediate action, it is 15,000 only. Is that enough? Or do you want more? Do you want more? You're getting this 20 hours of coaching. You're getting 10 videos. You're getting live coaching, which can be very, very powerful. And you will be part of a group of like-minded people. So, what are the bonuses I can give you? You will get, if you join the program, you are entitled to a free one-to-one phone coaching call with me, value around 1,000. you will become a free member of Creative Karma Club, which is for 1 year. The value is 10,000. And since it is on Zoom, just you need not watch. You register for one person, you and your spouse, your family member, your team, all of you can attend the session. And we are giving you this video in the newsletter, which you can play for your own team and for your family members as well. Is that better? Is this a good deal, do you think? Show of hands, if you think it's a good deal. Yeah. But I can't do this for everyone, because I do this only twice a year. This is a special New Year offer. So those of you who want to continue your journey with me, take action now. There is a registration desk here which has a registration form. You make your payment, show your proof of payment, fill in the form, and we will get you started. The first video will be sent to you on the 2nd of January in a newsletter. Now this offer is valid only till 31st December midnight. It's a 2022 closure kind of offer. So those of you who want to join, please, all the information you need is in the pamphlet that is given to you. Now I'm just going to play the first video which I'll be sending out on week 1 as part of the course for you to have an idea what kind of value you'll be getting in the course.
Welcome to video 1 of week 1 of our program on rewiring your brain for resilience. How many of you feel a little stressed right now? Are you feeling grumpy, angry, anxious, depressed, telling people, just leave me alone, go away, and no one will get hurt? Or are you feeling, I love my life, I'm so blessed, I have so much in my life to be grateful for, which I remind myself every day, I'm grateful, I'm happy, and I'm full of love and compassion to everyone around me. Which one of these would you like to be? See, when stress occurs around us, we have 3 responses physiologically. One is fight, where we engage with the stress and we maintain some kind of pressure. We try to overcome, we resist, we fight, we try to withstand it. The second is flight, where we just run away from the problem. We leave, and when we just leave, the problem doesn't go away. In fact, we end up grieving as well. A third response is when we freeze. We just can't react at all. But when we freeze and pause for a little while in the face of the stress, what happens is we are able to at least weigh the situation. We are able to take some kind of action. And so it's not too bad a kind of response for us to have. There is a fourth response, where we just have to face the whatever is happening, then and there, as it is, how it is, to the extent it is, we just have to face it. Now, when we face it, what we tend to do is, we are able to look at it a little objectively, we are able to evaluate it, we are able to analyze it, we are able to seek help in order to sort it out. But when we freeze, we sometimes just take little or no action. When we run away, we're just ignoring the problem. And when we fight it, we may win, we may not win. So of these 4 responses, it's much better for us to first become aware of the problem, accept the problem, and face it. You see, when you freeze, what happens to you is you become quite nervous. There is a dissociation. There is a numbness. There's a depression. There is shame. You feel trapped. There's loss of energy, helplessness, and you tend to shut down. In the fight or flight, there's a lot of frustration. You may even have rage. And when you engage with it, things are a little better. Now, I am going to give you a fifth way of responding, which is the core theme of this entire program that we are doing of rewiring your brain for resilience. It is to learn to flourish. When bad things happen around us, we not only move beyond fighting, fleeing, freezing, and facing the situation, we actually become resilient and we learn how to flourish in the middle of the adversity. And that is the skill you're going to learn in this entire program. Now, the adversity framework, what happens is, when it first happens to us, we are a little bewildered actually. It's a shock, it's a jolt. And sometimes for a while we do nothing. Then we move to the phase of hopelessness. We may panic, we may come up with some knee-jerk reactions and make some bad decisions. But then we have to go beyond that to phase 3, where we assess, we evaluate, and sometimes we make wrong choices which lead to a road to nowhere. But very often, when we evaluate, we're more realistic. And then we create an intentional response and plan a kind of more planned and more intensive, positive kind of recovery. And in phase 4, we actually do the job to make all this happen. Remember that the more you try to accomplish, the more obstacles you will need to overcome. So the only way to get over an obstacle is to go through the obstacle or go through. So the only way, the first step towards change is awareness. The second step is acceptance. And when we are having something bad happening to us, we go through several stages. In fact, when something sad happens, when we lose a loved one, when something really bad devastates us, we go through shock, we go through denial, we get angry, we try to bargain that this is not happening to us, we get depressed, we try various things, and only then we move into acceptance. So today, and in week 1, the exercise that you have to do is to practice what we call as radical acceptance. See reality, accept reality, and move forward. And to do this, you also have to practice self-acceptance, where you are yourself. You learn to appreciate yourself as you are, the good, the bad, the ugly, everything. And you know that you are enough. And not only that, that you are worth it. The third phase of your acceptance is you work on improving yourself to be able to be your best self and to stand out and somehow or other deal with whatever is happening around you. So I want you this whole week to practice radical acceptance, self-acceptance. And some of the ways in which you can do it is you can use some of these coping statements. This is the way it has to be. The present is the only moment I have control of. There's no point in my fretting about the past, no point in my worrying about the future. It is no use fighting the past. And this moment is a result of over 1 million other decisions that I've made before. So I will I cannot change what has happened. But all the events of the past have led up to this. That is why it is the way it is. And the only thing I have control over is the present moment. So practice acceptance in various phases of your life around you. And the affirmation for this week, which you will have to practice together with this, is the present moment is the only moment I have control over. I accept everything that is happening exactly as it is. I am capable and worthy of dealing with it no matter what. So with this, you've got your exercise for this week. You've got your theme for this week, which is acceptance. And I will see you next week with the next video. Best of luck in what you do.
So that is the kind of video you will get every Monday when you're signed up for the program. And every Friday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. will be the live coaching class. So I have put in all the effort possible. I've undergone all the training possible. So if you are with me and you want to enjoy this journey with me, take charge of your life right now, because this is the secret story of your life. And then you can bounce back from whatever happens to you. Let me also take this opportunity to wish you all a very happy new year, because we've got only one day more to go for this year. And whatever happened in this year, good, bad, ugly, it's all over. You have to decide whether you want to make your next year a beautiful one or something that you're just going to tick, just carry on, get up, go, float along, take what comes kind of thing, take no actual action, do nothing. Understand that when you start doing something to improve yourself, there will be a lot of criticism, particularly from people around you, because you're changing for the better. And which means they have to change for the better. So they are in their comfort zone. So don't let somebody say, oh, this program, there are so many programs, you're joining this program, what do you think? There'll be lots of people. There's this little voice inside your head also, which will go chattering and say, will push your resistance. 15,000 rupees, what can I do with 15,000 rupees? There are a lot of things you can do. But I want to thank each one of you for actually taking time off today and being here to spend time with me in this evening, which I felt was a feel-good evening, where I can give you a little bit a peek into the kind of work that I'm doing and the kind of work that I can do for you and with you. And also to appreciate 5 amazing people. You're going to see 5 absolutely amazing stories you're going to hear in the awards function. But before that, let's take a break, have tea, and then gather back here by 5:40 for the awards function. I am willing to answer question answers for another 10 minutes if you want. So, sir, you were asking, yeah. It's not wrong to sleep for a long time, but it will make you feel lazy. Now you try an afternoon nap for half an hour, you will wake up refreshed. Because the phase of sleep that you get up in that period makes a difference. So sleep for 2-3 hours, you will find yourself feeling groggy. Agree, all of you? So after lunch, say, suppose you had a heavy meal, you went out with your friends, there was a party, whatever. Yes, Pushpa, come. She wants to come up. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. So it's much better to have a regular sleep cycle. See, there are some people who will, the night shift, unfortunately, and the jet lag, as I told you, has interfered with the chronobiology. Because the brain performs best when you sleep in darkness and stay awakened when the sun is up. There's a natural clock which is happening inside our body which regulates all the other clocks. Everything is running like a clock. Remember that. We say that as an expression. Yeah, everything is going well, running like a clock. This clock is running perfectly. That is what is homeostasis. So anybody wants to ask any other questions? Or any comments? Anything you want to share, ideas which you have, which were triggered by the presentation? Yes, Sheila. Give her a mic. This is Sheila. She's a friend of mine. She is a NLP coach, neuro-linguistic programming coach. She has worked with ordinary people, very, very famous people, including cricketers, Ranji Trophy. And NLP is a very powerful, I'm also an NLP master practitioner, but NLP is a very powerful tool which can bring about changes very quickly. Yes, Sheila.
I want to know whether in your course that you will be doing, besides, will you be giving us tips on how our body will work? I'm sure you will be. Besides that, will you be introducing anything, touching on anything like pranic healing, other sources that we could use as well?
Yes. See, I believe in holistic and integrative health. Okay? I don't believe that allopathy is the be-all, end-all of all medicine. Because we had ancient systems of medicine in this country working very well but at the same time, I do not want to venture into things which I am not qualified to do. So usually in my programs, what I do is, I get the concerned expert to join us as a guest. So in the 2-hour program, you may end up having a half-an-hour guest speaker on a particular, but I believe in energy healing. I've used it on myself. My chemotherapy drugs were pranic healed before they were administered to me. And no side effects. I had been doing that for my patients in Apollo before itself. So when it was my turn to have the chemotherapy, I got it done for them. Also, a whole team of my friends, including a neurosurgical colleague who is a pranic healer, they were continuously sending me distant pranic healing throughout my process. My yoga teacher is here, Mr. Rajkumar. So what we did was, post-chemotherapy and post-radiation, I had 4 months gap waiting for the surgery. We checked with the surgeon what will be my body position during surgery and all that. We worked on building up. I was head down with my legs splayed out for 8.5 hours. So I could have got nerve palsies, etc. due to the pressure. But what we did was, I worked on strengthening my abdomen, worked on strengthening my perineum. So I worked on becoming more stress fit to withstand the surgery. So like I said, it's a combination. So in allopathy, yes, we sometimes prepare patients when we do cervical surgeries. But hardly anybody tells you in that gap, go and prepare yourself for surgery. I nourished myself differently during those 4 months. Fruits and vegetables and protein and everything. So my wound healing was very fast. And it was excellent. So it is better to be prepared. Now what we're doing and telling you about stress fitness and resilience is to be prepared. Life happens to everybody. To what extent and in what way is what differs. But life happens. There's anybody in this room who says they've never had a bad day in their lives, nothing bad has ever happened in their lives. Nobody can raise their hand. Okay? Sir, any other comments? Yes, sir. Yeah.
Came to that fever part, I missed reading and I didn't get. Maybe you also missed.
That again? Okay.
Yeah, please.
Some of my friends have joined now, they're getting one backward revision of what we talked. So the body can heal itself. We have to help it along. And we should learn to value this priceless machine. You just think about it. How often do you thank your body every day for doing what it's doing for you? I do. One of the things I say gratitude for is, thank you body for helping me to see, hear, walk, talk, whatever. We have to learn to thank our body for being there for us. So another thing that will happen after that program will be a highly increased awareness. And 90% of the battle is won if you become aware of that. Anything else?
Doctor, I'm not sure whether it's this the slide, maybe the previous one. No, the next one. After this, yes, a fever is a body raising.
Please. He is a leadership coach.
Fever is a natural response.
Sorry?
Fever is a natural
Yeah, this is the body's natural way in which it fights anything that tries to attack the body. At least this, mind you, what I presented to you is highly simplistic. It's a lot more complex than this. But then when we are coaching, we will take you a little deeper and we will, be there to help you understand better and things like that. Can we? Thank you. Anything else? Anyone else wants to make a comment? Yes, madam. Mic kudupa.
Every day we have to say that this is our best day. I mean, the present is what we have.
Yes.
And I heard of a very bad incident which happened near my friend's house in Phoenix. A family went on a vacation and they died in a frozen lake. They are not directly related to me, but these type of incidents also hurts when we hear.
That's why I said life happens to everybody.
Yes.
Nobody is exempt.
Yes, yes.
It's just how we respond to it that makes the difference. I'm hoping our chief guest was going to tell you how you can, her tips on how to overcome setbacks. Setbacks happen to everybody. For me it was a cancer, for somebody it's something else. So, okay, you tell me how can you heard the news.
Yeah, I heard the news and they are nowhere related to me.
You're justified in feeling bad. You manage your emotions. You think of the nice things about that person, whoever you knew, and say it's a pity that they're no longer with us. But can you stay there?
No. No, I don't even know them actually.
No,
I just
it doesn't
heard them.
matter. See,
Yeah.
that is human empathy, that is.
Yes, yes.
You don't have to know somebody to understand their
Yes.
difficulty or suffering or whatever. But you can't stay there. You have to move.
Yes, yes.
That's the point. That is resilience.
Right.
When you dust yourself up, get up, pick yourself up when you fall down, and say, I'll keep walking.
But we also keep hearing, no, why is God there? Why God has
That you're
given
entitled
such,
to your,
yeah.
entitled to your conversations with God
Yes.
on this matter.
Okay.
But most people, if you really sit down and look at it, there is a reason behind a lot of things.
Yes.
And remember, in nature, purging has to happen for newness to come in.
Yes, yes.
All of us cannot be living forever.
Law of conservation of mass.
Yeah. So
Thank you.
that's a natural thing. You just have to be happy that right now you're okay. And
Thank
you're
you, doctor.
breathing. You're okay and you're breathing. Are we done? Would you all like to go for tea? We can start the award function a little earlier because we've had to squeeze in some last minute events, but that's okay. So just find out if the tea is ready, pa?
Ready.
Ready, yeah?
Ready.
Okay. Now I invite all of you to come and join us for tea. We've tried to make it substantial enough for those who have early dinner. And we will assemble back here for the award function at 5:45. 5:40.
Ready.
Okay? So thank you all. Go and have a great tea. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming. I think we shouldn't have had such a big tea break because all the students ran away, the MBA students. So I'm sorry, awardees, your audience has become less, but it's all right. Those who matter are here. Okay, that's what's important. And it's on YouTube, so everybody is going to be seeing it. It's being simultaneously streamed on YouTube. So even I will get to see it tomorrow and make my own judgment on what has happened or hasn't happened. Some of you were asking, some people were asking me, what is this function all about? Why are you doing this? I used to do what is called as a good life party, where you simply come, have fun and go. That's it. That's the idea. And the people I'll invite will be very random. Whatever comes to mind, whoever comes to mind, I'll just call them. And if they turn up, they turn up. If they don't turn up, it's okay. So, and when you come there, there usually is no specific agenda. But today we had an agenda. And the agenda was also because I'm launching my program, Rebooting Your Brain for Resilience, which is starting on the 2nd of January. It's a virtual program. It's a 10-week program where every Monday a newsletter with a video will be sent to the participant. And every Friday will be a 2-hour live interactive session with a group and me, whoever is registered and me. And I have planned the course in great detail, and I promise that I will do my best to give the maximum value as I always do in everything I do. So I also have in my, slip where patients know where I am at what time and day, where I write there, we under-promise and over-deliver. So we do that. So I had also had to highlight what the course is about and what I have invested in being able to bring that course to you, both in time, energy, and money. And 2 people have signed up. My grateful thanks to them. One of them is sitting here. And she has attended some of my offline earlier workshops. And that's a testimonial. I thank you. The fact that you felt you will get value and you signed up for it straight away. Thank you. So this part of the evening is something which warms my heart. That's all I can say. Because the theme is resilience. And most of us think that our lives are complicated, that our lives have got so many problems. And very few people nowadays have the time or the inclination to think about someone else's problem. Because everybody is having their own problems. Like I tell, somebody said, if this happens, somebody will come, this will come, that will come. I said, nobody really cares. At the end of the day, you have to stand up on your own 2 feet. If you fall, you pick yourself up. Somebody may give you a hand to assist you. They may not. You have to stand up and make sure that you stay standing. And you bend but don't break. So that is the theme of resilience, which has been the whole evening's theme. And I'm going to introduce you to some 5 amazing people. After you listen to their stories, you will think there's nothing wrong in your life. Because so much has happened to each of them, and they're still standing. So I thought it would be a nice gesture to appreciate them and to share their stories with the rest of you. And that is why I was very keen on the YouTube streaming, because even though you may not even know me or know any of us of this work, somebody somewhere will see that YouTube video and get inspired by the life of one of these people. I shared my story earlier, and I think in a way I'm also equipped to teach resilience to others because I'm also still standing after a lot of things that have happened to me. So may I now invite all the awardees to the stage. The reason why I'm inviting you now itself is so that there's a smooth flow between awardees. So, Sumir, you can come up, Mr. Govindraj, and somebody help him up, please. Come, Maria Priya, Meenakshi. Do you need help? நீங்க உள்ள போயிடுங்க மரியா இருமாக்கண்ண Nina, our chief guest, Mrs. Nina Reddy. No formalities, Nina. We'll escort you. You can jump up. Right. மூஞ்சி கண்ணு மாறி sit, your name is put there. Anyway, something, that's my chair in the middle next to you, so that's okay. So let me introduce our chief guest to you, Mrs. Nina Reddy. Her secretary sent me one long bio. I'm not going to bother with that bio at all. Because to get that bio, I had to bully her till yesterday evening. And finally, I said, your secretary can send, and she sent. What all of you, she is on page 3, on page 5, page 10, all over the city, everywhere. So actually, most people know her. She is the joint managing director of Savera Group of Hotels, and so much more. From my point of view, she is a diva. She's a philanthropist. She's so generous with her time, energy, money for so many causes. She's a corporate boss, yes, boss lady. But she's a beautiful human being, and she's a good friend of mine. And that is why she's here today. Now, all of us went through a lot of difficulties during the pandemic, in some form or other. Some more, some little less. Nina had her share as well. But I don't know if that's what I want her to focus on. She's got a terrific attitude. As her friend, let me tell you one thing which I have admired her for. She doesn't, I don't know if she knows about it, but for years. See, she is in a very tough job. She has to deal with all kinds of people, all kinds of situations, and at all times of the day, when she's tired, not tired, a little bit like a doctor. We also do the same thing. But at least we have some more, it's more sort of streamlined and more systematic and things like that. Whereas in the hotel industry, anything can happen anytime. It's a very, contingency management is a very important thing. And she's been doing this balancing act so brilliantly for so long. And so I'm going to request her to just share her mantra for dealing and overcoming setbacks, which has kept her resilient so far. So may I invite Nina to please share with us whatever she wishes to share with us. Yeah, use that. Adjust பண்ணி கொடு.
Good evening, and can you hear me? Yeah. Good evening and namaskaram to everyone. Doc, that was a beautiful introduction. And I think I've known Doctor for about more than 20 odd years now, and I didn't know that she looks at me from all those angles. I was actually admiring the way she was, and I was telling my friends here that she looks like a magician, doesn't she? Yeah? First of all, I would like to thank Dr. Prithika Chary for asking me to come here. I was wondering why at the end of the year she's doing it, but I think it sums it up, Doc. It is about gratitude, it's about showing that you care, and what better time to do it than at the end of the year. So kudos to Doc, you always do the right thing. I got to hear about the awardees, little snippets from everyone, and I was talking to one or two of them, and of course Sumir, we know him for when he was the fitness trainer for Dr. Prithika at my gym. It's amazing, and I think you'll be hearing from each of them later. Actually, I feel very humbled and small, Doc, in front of all of them. I really mean it, even before I can, because my world is a corporate world. You know, it's a different world altogether. And whatever challenges we have gone through are very different from what each of them has gone through, and of course, you'll be hearing it from them. So what exactly is the meaning of resilience? Interesting word, isn't it? It's a strong word. Resilience is not giving up at all. And like how Doctor beautifully put it, it's like, you bend but you don't break. I think that's what resilience is all about. I feel all of us have it in us. Each of us sitting here has it in us. It is just that we need to recognize that, and that resilience, I feel, comes out when a situation comes up. I was talking to different friends before I came here, Doc, because I didn't know what I was supposed to be sharing. And in fact, I was speaking to a couple of them and I said, what does resilience mean to you? You know, and some of the input that I was getting. And some of them said it is about, same thing, not breaking, not giving up at all, going against every odd, but, it's just going on. But where does it stem from, was my question. Where does this resilience stem from? Where does it come from? From within, isn't it? No one outside, for example, we know we work with gyms, right? And when we tell people to come and work out there, we can tell, but who has to get them there? I think it's their own motivation, isn't it? So the same thing with resilience and your attitude. It's about how you, accept the situations and how you act on it. I think it's all about you finally. I've had my share of difficulties, and I don't want to use the word difficulty after this. I think it's, immediately when you say difficulty, it sounds like a different, very difficult situation. But when you call it a challenge, there's a very positive word to it, isn't it? When you say challenge, then, there's a way you're going to look at it very differently, how you're going to approach it, and how you're going to tackle it. And it's almost like a game after that, So long time back, I've stopped calling them difficulties even at work. I just say it's a challenge, and I'm ready to take it on. Let me take you back to my childhood, or when I was married into the family business here. I was just about 19 or 20 years when I got married and came into Chennai. And my background was like any of you, like a regular college student. I was married when I was still in college. Married to this really fabulous person. I think it was my karma, my good karma. He became my best friend, and he was my best friend till the end. I think you all should marry your best friends. When you marry someone, I think it has to be a friend that you marry, because then there's an understanding, there's growth, because we allow each other that growth, and that's exactly what happened with Vijay and me. And I was always a people's person. Even when I was growing up, I grew up with lots of people around me, whether it was my grandparents' house. I mean, there were a number of people around me. So I think I was always a people's person. And I always tell everyone, I don't know about any other talent I have, but one skill that I have is people management. Because I think I like it. And I think that's exactly what I turned my skill or talent into what I'm doing today. That's what I do. I'm with people. I like being with people through all the different kind of challenges that we go through, but I love it. I think that's what it is. I think, each of us, when we are in a position, when we do the things that we like, I think then you don't think it's at work at all, isn't it? Three major challenges which came up, which suddenly I'm able to recollect. I think one has been 16 years back, 14, 15 years back, exactly around this time of the year. It was the 31st of 2007 night. We were having this really gala New Year's Eve that we had planned for Chennai to come and, enjoy. What started off as fantastic arrangements and, putting together all our efforts into making it work, hordes of people had come in. Between 11:30 and 12 something happened. And I think everyone's world just turned topsy-turvy. There was an accident at the hotel, and let me tell you, Savera is not known for any kind of problems before that. It was all smooth sailing, and I think it was always smaller things that we were dealing with. But this crisis which happened, we lost 3 young lives in that accident. It was very difficult to live with, for a long time. And at that point of time, everyone said, ma'am, everyone knows you, and you will be hounded, and then I think you should just go away somewhere, at least go abroad, just stay there till things die down, and come back later when things are much better. But you know what I did? I just came back, checked into the hotel and stayed there. Because I think it's all about addressing your fears. If there's a problem, I think it's about facing it fully, because there's no running away from it, especially when it is something that you should be holding yourself responsible also for whatever it was. That was life-changing. I think I lost 4 kilos in 2 days. I think I just dropped my weight like that, because it was the stress of it, it was terrible. But then again, I looked at my husband and I said, what should I be doing? Who should I be? Because there were various people coming and telling me, you need to explain this to some people. You need to tell them what has happened. You have to explain yourself. Vijay just said one thing to me, and I think those words are words of wisdom to me. He said, who are you going to be addressing your agony to? Is it the people who will, even if you talk, will never believe? Or is it the other people, even if you don't explain, who will always believe? So that decided, I said, I'm not going to talk about it. I just fell silent after that. I just went about doing the right thing from then onwards. Lots of changes, and we took the whole organization along with us, because everyone was down and out, everyone was feeling responsible. It took us many months to come out of it. But what came out of it was something beautiful. We came together as a big family. And what was the most difficult out of this whole thing was going to the houses of the 3 young people's houses and talking to the parents. That was the most difficult one. But every time I went out, I would talk to Dr. Prithika. I said, I'm going, and she said, come back and tell me what happened. So when I said, see, there's an innate resilience and self-confidence in you that you want to go ahead and do it. But you know what everyone requires is a conducive environment around you. I think you need people to understand you, you need people to be with you, that really helps. Because, when you're feeling down and out, it's only good, well-meaning friends and relatives who can be with you. And I'm so fortunate that I have all my friends, and I have a beautiful world around me. And I think I really worked hard to build it around me. And I just promise myself every day that I'm just going to make it more and more beautiful in whatever way I can. Little later, much later, almost 10 years later, 3.5 years back, I lost my best friend. That also happened quite suddenly. It was just like, he was there one hour before, and then it was 2-3 hours later, he was gone. It was a hemorrhage which happened to him. But then what do you do? Because there's everyone else who's looking at you for comfort. So you need to rise above that. And the only thing I did is I accepted the situation fully right away. Because I think if I look back, I think what really helped me at that point of time was to accept it, because I had to be there for my young 2 daughters. And for the whole organization and whatever he has built up. So if I break, everything else will also go awry. So I had to really stand and take it on Today I'm glad to say that, we were able to bring it back to whatever best possible. I miss him, but I can also say that my relationship with him was complete. I think we were a well-bonded couple, and I think I had a good marriage. Little later, just when I was getting over loss of Vijay, COVID happened. And I think it was exactly just 1 year after his passing on. It was exactly 1 year. It was March he passed away, the next March COVID was all over us. That point of time, everything came to a standstill. Not just in my life, but in everyone else's life sitting here, I'm sure. So what do? But this time, I didn't break. I didn't even wonder what to do. I said, we're going to accept, because everyone else is also in the same thing. We're going to take it on. And like you all know, COVID was a leveler. And afterward, the 2 years after that, we just closed down things which were not working, kept things which are profitable. And today, after a couple of years, I can tell you that the profits with our business are much more than what it was earlier. Because you had time to rethink, you had time to rebuild, you had time to reconcile to the situation and look at it in very different ways, and I think that's exactly what I did. And like I said, people around me helped. Lots of my family, friends, everyone stood by me, they believed in me, and they were there for me when I wanted to talk. And what kept me personally going was my fitness, and I think Sumit will agree on that. I think it's all about how healthy you are. It's like how they tell you in an aircraft, you put on your mask first and then you help out others. I have to be fit. I have to be healthy if I need to look after other people. So everyone, all my friends know that I keep my mind, my body and my soul intact in different kind of ways with different activities, whether it's my exercise or learning new things or just enjoying every day of my life. Doc, my tools for what I am today. I always think life is a drama, right? Life is a drama. God has created us, He sent us down here, and He's created a stage for us. We just have to look back and, like I think Sheila was saying that. Sheila, you said that? You wonder, you've come here, so what are you supposed to be doing? So we have to find a purpose for why we are here and do the best at what we are here for. So whatever role that we play, whether it was earlier as a daughter, a wife, a daughter-in-law, a businesswoman, a mother, mother-in-law, grandmother, whatever, I think if we do our best in that role, I think we've had it. So we've been completely present in that, and I think taking life as it's a drama, so you project your best role forward, right? And there are about 8 C's which I believe in. One is being cool, calm, confident, consistent, compassionate, caring, being clear in what I'm thinking, and above all, being cheerful. I think these are important. And of course, we have the 5 P's which I believe in. One is, you've come for a purpose, and the purpose has to be driven by passion. And to back it up, you need to be patient, persistent, and above everything else, I think it is prayers. These are my 5 P's, and I think this is what keeps me going. And I would like to end it by saying that our bhajan teacher said, Shakti, Bhakti and Mukti. Right? Yesterday we sang this, Anu. I believe in Sai Baba, and I think he gives me immense strength from there. So can you just sing those 2 lines with me, girls? Sai Mata Pita Dina Bandhu Saka, Sai Mata Pita Dina Bandhu Saka, तेरे चरणों में साई मेरा कोटि प्रणाम, तेरे चरणों में साई मेरा कोटि प्रणाम। मुझे शक्ति दो मेरे साईं शिवा, मुझे शक्ति दो मेरे साईं शिवा, मुझे भक्ति दो मेरे साईं शिवा, मुझे भक्ति दो मेरे साईं शिवा, मुझे मुक्ति दो मेरे साईं शिवा. Thank you so much.
That's your memento first. Wow. You don't have to Now, our first. मार लिए बा हाँ सुमीर कुमार he was my fitness trainer long time ago, and I'm very proud of the way he has overcome his health challenges. Anybody else would have given up, including me. I mean, long ago, if I have to undergo even 1/10 of what he has undergone. So, Nina, can you do the honors?
Just have a request.
Your wife also, yeah,
my wife
let the family come everybody.
Our reason why.
May I now invite Sumir to just share his trials and triumphs.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and people in dais. It's pretty overwhelming for me to come here and talk about the journey in the presence of such beautiful people here. It's been just recently as I've got over one part of a journey in my life. So whenever I've been just starting to talk about my journey to a lot of people, because I'm doing a lot of voluntary work with schools and colleges, talking about organ donation and preventive health care. I don't know how many people know about me and the kind of journey. So let me introduce myself. Yeah. So my name is Sumir. I was a professional cricketer. Post my retirement, which is an early age, I got into fitness. I used to train. I ran a company. I even trained Dr.Prithika. I knew Nina Reddy and a lot of people here from Duchess Club. Had a great interaction with them too. And I've done a lot of things during my training. And over a period of time, during my cricketing days, the age of 25, I had an acute kidney injury due to dehydration. I was playing a tournament and I was totally dehydrated. And those days, sports science was not as great as what it is now. Unfortunately, I had a acute injuries. So later on, though I was admitted in the hospital for 15 days, I was lucky to get back. That was my first part. And then I continued to play cricket for 4 years professionally. And then I will continue saying the story more. There's a lot of things. Actually, my life is divided into 4 parts. I'm almost 48 years old. I have 4 parts and says that first 12 years, the second phase was 12 to 13 to 24, 25. The third phase was from 25, 26 to 38, 36 and 36 to 48. All these four phases of this life taught me a lot of things. So I will go to the 4th phase, which was a different phase, which had to do with my health. I had 2 kidney transplants. My first one was in 2015, and my second one was in 2019. But my journey of kidney disease, CKD disease, though I told it started in 2000, exactly 2000, I was on dialysis from 2012. I was on dialysis for 3 years. Then I was lucky enough to have a cadaver transplant, which lasted for 2.5 to 3 years. It failed for different reasons. And then, after my kidney failed, 2015, I was back on dialysis, 2018, sorry, I was back on dialysis, and I was getting ready for my second transplant. My wife came forward to donate, and we had planned to have it on 2019, April. But unfortunately, I had a massive aortic dissection, which is nothing but I had a tear in my aortic valve and an emergency open heart surgery. Luckily, I was in the hospital doing my dialysis, and it was a shooting pain when I was going through my dialysis. I used to do night dialysis. So after that, I'm just going to brush through what I went through, because I'll explain to you later what was the actual reason I'm going to explain. And then I had an emergency operation immediately in the morning. The percentage or success rate was just 5%. And I got through it, and then I was like this, if I can, the picture.
Slide காட்டுற மாதிரி இருக்கு.
Yeah, so after my open heart, that's 2019, I was struggling. In 2019, I had 9 surgeries. I was admitted in the hospital in the ICU for almost 55 days. In that period of time, I had also had a surgery for my lungs, because my lungs collapsed. I was just literally waiting to die. And then I was fortunate enough when a friend of mine came forward to donate, and everything went well. And within 2019 September, once my transplant happened, life changed. And then you could see in 3 months how I turned to. And then in 2019, I was on a different plane. I was back to my training. I was getting trained myself. My wife wanted to run a 10K marathon. I said I will support her. Finally, I ran the 10K. Within 3 months of my surgery, exactly 100 days, I completed the run. No idea, I just wanted to run with my wife. And I believe later on, after 8 months, I came to know that I was awarded Asian Book of Records and Indian Book of Records, being the first person to run within 100 days of my transplant. So I did face a lot of things from my doctors, and am I crazy? Then, within 6 months, I was actually preparing myself for the World Transplant Games. So this happens every 2 years, and this year is going to happen in 2023, it's going to happen in Australia. So I was just playing badminton, and while playing badminton, I had a stroke while playing, and I lost sensation on the right side, and that was a tear, very small tear, small stroke, and within 5 minutes I was okay. I went back to hospital. I told my doctor I experienced this, and even I called Dr.Prithika, being a very renowned neurologist. He also advised me to do an MRI. Found out that I had blood clots in my carotid artery, and they were wondering what to do because I just had my open heart, so probably 9 months back. The doctor said, wait and watch, don't do this, don't do that, don't increase your heart rate, don't increase your blood pressure, don't do this. So I said, how long? He said, as long as possible. I said, I can't live like this. See, I need some clarity. What if I get a stroke again? He says, what is the possibility of survival? Survival depends on where you are at that moment, and also once the surgery happens, it gave me a 70-30. 70% probably you'll be normal, 30% you'll have paralysis. So, sorry, the other way around, when you have the stroke. Then I said, what if I do my surgery now? He says 70-30. I said, I'll take it. I will go ahead. So doctors were like wondering, because if I'm going for an open heart surgery, I have to get clearance from my nephrologist. It's not easy to do a CT scan or an MRI because of the dye. So I said, no, I don't want to live like this. I'd rather take that 70% chance. So I went ahead with the surgery on November 19th. I had my second open heart. I had 2 surgeries by then. One was to take off the clot, and I had to do a bypass. Basically, they had to cut off the line. They found out a lot of clots and give a different line. And then 3 days later, they did the stenting. So, I had a different experience during the surgery also, which I normally don't tell people, is that I was very conscious about the surgery. So I could not see things. The general anesthesia worked to some extent that I could not see things, but I could hear things. I knew what was going on the operation table. So when I came and told my doctor, Doc, I think I was awake and I was trying hard to move my hands and tell them I'm hearing the conversation. So my doctor said it's not possible. There's only 0.02% that people are awake during anesthesia. But he asked me, I don't trust you. And I said, no. Ask me what were you discussing? And you tell you people who do surgeries in the operation table, they talk crazy. Doctors will know. You know the best part? The doctors, the chief surgeon will tell you. Where is this some kind of a stent, this 14-inch stent? So the nurse will say, Doc, we don't have that stock. We have 16. The doctors will shout, what is this? I've told you, this is what you want, this is what you want. And the doctors will say, what to do, I'll have to adjust. So I am listening to all this, I was listening, what is happening, how am I going to come out? But this is the kind of conversation. Some people saying, a lot of things happened during the surgery. I was telling them, these are the conversation. And I was trying to divert myself. No, I'm not going to listen to this. So the previous day, few days back, I was watching a movie. I said, okay. It was talking about afterlife. So it was about a young girl who dies, a spirit comes out, and she's a musician. She's seeing things in the hospital. It's very interesting. I forgot the name of the movie. So I thought, okay, let me also say if there is life in the spirit space. Is there something like that? So I went into, I was trying to distract my mind. It was painful, but I couldn't do anything. I was singing songs, and I just was trying to, okay, let me go. I was also making sure I won't go too far. I didn't want, probably I might lose myself. Luckily, the surgery got over after 8 hours, and I came out. I wouldn't want to get deep into the experience what I had in the thing. I came out, and I was narrating my incidents to the doctor and to my wife. But I started experiencing another part of my life journey. All this while it was physical, mental. The third part, I went into massive depression, which I don't speak much because I felt, because I got disconnected with the real world. I was like something in the matrix. I didn't know what is real, what is false. I used to wake up my wife and ask her, am I at home? Am I in the hospital? Am I dead? Am I living? And I wasn't sure whether I was alive. That's a challenge. And unfortunately, my wife, who had been part of this journey, she was also low. So she said she was lost, so was I. Then I started to be aware of it. I was having suicidal tendencies. I looked at my children. I was wondering, do I need to live? Because I wasn't sure whether I was alive or not. But I consciously said, okay, I'll give myself a day. I should not make hasty decisions. So within, say, probably a month, I got out of it, and I had a clarity that yes, I am living here. So this has been a journey for me, because as I told you, for me, as I keep telling people, the advantage was I looked at life as a witness and not as a victim. So the moment people start looking at a victim, then they get into trouble. I always looked at my life as a witness. I was aware of it, whether it was my disease, whether it was my challenges in my life during my cricketing career, and I was totally aware of it. And I always thought, what do I do next about it? So I accepted it, and next was my action. So I always tell people 3 things: awareness, acceptance, and action. And this happens only if you are in the witness mode, not in the victim mode. If you think that only why this happened to me, why it is always happening to me, this is not moving forward. Because I experienced death at a very early age. I said 4 phases. First 12 years was one of the most wonderful years of my life. Whatever I believed, whatever I dreamt, it happened. Though I came from a very middle class army background, life wasn't easy for us. First 12 years, whatever I wanted to do, it happened. I did have the magic of doing things happening. The next 12 years, from 13 to 25, was a learning curve for me. The reason is, in 89-90, when I was in my 10th standard, my first experience of death happened in my family. My brother, who was 19 years old, went swimming with his friends to Mahabalipuram and never came back. I was having a conversation just like I'm having with you. We were very close as brothers. I had four elder brothers. I was youngest. And he just went, never came back. He came as a body. And I was a witness to it. I was thinking, yesterday I was talking to him, having fun, and everything was going fine. My mom was very, very religious person. She did, and very spiritual too. It was a shock to her. Normally when people go through misery or adversaries, they go to God. Here she always was with God. She used to get up early in the morning, 4 o'clock, do her prayers, and this is how she lived. And then she saw a son, third son, dead. But then my dad was in Kuwait, working. Okay, sorry. I didn't realize that. That's why I had a long story. So, that thing is, in the next year, my dad and my eldest brother was working in Kuwait. And correctly, the Gulf War came. And for 6 months, they were lost. We were not sure whether they were alive or not. They were stuck in a refugee camp. We weren't sure what was happening to them. And later on, those days, we did not have telephone. You have to do an STD. It was a different ballgame in 80s, late 80s and 90s, early 90s. Then they came alive. Same thing happened. My eldest brother and me were having a discussion. What is happening to our family? What's going wrong? And next day, he died of massive cardiac arrest because he was going under depression. He was like wondering, what's going on? The point which I'm trying to say is that I was witness to death, and death never scared me. But I decided at that time that we need to take care of ourselves. So I always say to people, like the great Uguwe master says, I don't know if people know about Uguwe, Kung Fu Panda. He says, yesterday is history, tomorrow is mystery, today is a gift. That's why it's called present. So we got to live in the present, for the day, for the hour. I don't look ahead, what's there 1 year down the lane, 5 years down the lane. For me, living healthy, living now is the most important thing, and I want to be happy. So I know my story is a bit too long to be comprised in 10 minutes, but I felt I need to put it because a dog was also a part of my journey in my third phase of my life, when I was the healthiest, and that was a different phase, including Dr. Neena Reddy and all these people where I was witness to their lives too. And she narrated the incident of Savera. I was there too. I knew what she went through. So I did learn from a lot of people, some amazing people from their lives. Thank you.
Sorry, I have to cut you. Our next awardee is Dr. Maria and her daughter Priya. Dr. Maria is a special educator, and her daughter had some issues which she dealt with in a very amazing way, because when her daughter developed the problem, Maria was not a Dr. Maria. She was a housewife. Okay? Only that. Oh my God, I broke the mic. Sorry. Did I break it? Are you? Sorry, pa. Damage. Right. So now they will decide how they want to tell their story, whether both of them are going to tell or Maria is going to tell. Welcome to you. She wants to sit and talk because she's got a back problem. Mic, Kurupa. Here, take this mic. I can go to the podium. Wait, we'll also check if this is working because it dropped it. Okay.
Hello, good evening. Can you all hear?
Good evening to everyone here. It's indeed a great honor and a pleasure to be sharing the dais with Dr. Prithika Chary and so many other dignitaries here. Ma'am, it's really wonderful, ma'am, that you have invited us here today to share about our story. And one thing that is striking to me at this point of time is I'm 70 years old. And I've been in this profession of special education for nearly 4 decades, as long as my daughter. She is 46 years old, and she is the reason for me to be sitting here today and also to receive this honor. Ma'am, let me tell you honestly, I've shared so many dioceses, like, as a special educator, but today is the day that I'm sharing the dais along with my daughter as a mother who is going to share the story. When ma'am asked me to be, available on the 30th of December, I did not know the reason. But all these years, this is the first time that I'm asked to share the story. It is not a story about Ensoga Kade Kelanga Taikulame Kadayad. I don't want to make it like a sob story at all. My story, or the life of my daughter and myself, I'm presenting it here today as a motivation to all the people, no matter whether they are special parents or whether we are just a so-called human being or the normal person as such. Each of us have undergone so many difficulties in our life. As just now Madam Meena shared and Mr. Sumir, I think it may not be comparable to their stories, but each one of us have a story to tell, because that is our life. And each one has a purpose in our life also. Maybe we may not realize it at the time of having that calamity or the trauma or something that has happened to us, but it is a reminder to us that we have a purpose in our life. I think today, Madam Meena and Mr. Sumir, while sharing, it would have brought to them the memory that they had a major role to play, not only in their lives, but also in the lives of many that we have come across. My journey started as a mother, when ma'am was saying that I was just a housewife, a naive lady with no experience, nothing, and she was our dream child, the princess in our family, because she defied the medical diagnosis that I won't beget a child. But she was born to us after the 3rd year, and our dream was short-lived, and within 5 months, she had a brain fever, whatever they called it at that time. Ma'am would know the terminology, encephalitis, but I didn't know anything about it. I was just told that she has brain fever, and she was in a coma. She was getting convulsions. She was given up to be dead within 24 hours or 48 hours. They took the signature from me and they said she won't live more than 24 hours. But then today she's still alive. But then, it was not a very, very pleasant time, as everyone would have. I mean, Mr. Sumir said, staying in the hospital. We don't know whether we were in the hospital or whether we were at home or where we were, going around, because our thoughts, our emotions, everything was flying all over. Whether this child is going to be alive or whether she'll be dead the next moment. But she survived that. But at the end of the 2 months that she was in the hospital with all the needles and medications and whatnot, everything was done to her. And the diagnosis, again, as I told you, I didn't understand a word, though I was just a high school pass with the knowledge in English. They said she was cerebral palsy, right hemiplegia, and spastic. What did those terms mean to me? Nothing.
And all that I knew was a child who had neck control, a child who was able to creep, had nothing. Her neck control was gone. She was not able to recognize us or anything that was happening around her. Her beautiful smile was gone. She was a real doll when she was born. Curly hair. It reminded me of the rhyme, chubby cheeks, or whatever the line said there. And she was that. But then she was a clay doll or a doll that was given in my hand. And all I was told was go to the physiotherapy. I don't want to go into all that because the time is very short. To make it very short, she was able to walk only at the age of 2.5, falling down, hurting herself, not able to keep her foot properly on the floor because, she had that TA tightness or whatever. But then this was it like. And again, I realized she was not speaking. Again, running to the topmost doctors. Doctor would be knowing Dr. Kameshwaran was an ENT and everyone. And he said give us speech therapy, it will come. See, this is, sorry ma'am, it's no disrespect any doctors, but that is what was being told to us. Everything will be fine. Go here, go there, and you will be all right, or your daughter will be all right. But it came as a big shock to me that even when she was about 3 years or nearly 4 years, she was not able to say anything except for a cooing sound and ma or pa or whatever it is. Again, my journey started to all the, speech therapy, nothing was happening. Thank God. I really thank God for this because in the year 1981, the Spastic Society of Tamil Nadu was born in Chennai. It was at the year of the handicap on the 31st of December. And the first week of January, Dr. Kumaresan told me that there is this organization where your child can go, where she can have everything under one roof. So that was it. But do you think a miracle happened again? No. Again, a lot of eating problems. Things were not, expectations of parents are so much. You want things to happen immediately. But when it doesn't happen, everything goes down for you. Again, what I did, I left that organization. I went to another organization. And again, I thank God for this because this is where I came to know that I can do special education myself. Instead of running around helter-skelter here and there, doctor shopping, therapy shopping, I thought, okay, I can do this, and I thought I can help my child. But that was a great challenge because you have to be a BA or a secondary grade to do that education, which was nothing. I was just a high school. But I didn't leave it at that. I fought with the organization and I said, give me that seat. I'm a mother. I want it for my sake of my child. So I did that 1 full year, a tough training program running around all over Chennai for different curriculum or the subjects. And do you think something would have happened for you even at that time? I completed that. But even before I could complete, the same organization which I didn't want to go or continue, they called me to head the organization. I was asked to be the superintendent of Spastic Society of Tamil Nadu at the Ainavaram Center because government had given them a land at Taramani and MGR had given them the place. Until today, Taramani is existing for the Spastic Society of Tamil Nadu. Do you think I took up the job? No. I refused. I said, I don't want this position. I did not study to, work. I studied to mainly for my daughter. But if at all you all would start an organization, the same branch in North Madras, because that's where I lived. And there was nothing in those days. I could afford to take her here and there. But what about the people in North Chennai? There was not a single organization. So they conceded to my request. They gave a few years' time. And in 1989, January 26th, my husband and myself ran around to all the places. Ma'am, this is still a problem. They won't give you a place to run a school for special children. Till today, organizations that want to work or start are still facing this problem of, not getting a place to run. But I was able to find a place. And even till today, it is existing in the same North Chennai. Yes, I've just finished. So why I'm mentioning this is, it's a journey. Nothing is easy. Trials come, and that school is existing. And I'll make it short, ma'am. I even started in the rural side for the Spastic Society of Tamil Nadu. And till today we have, yeah, I'll go, yeah. So till today, even why I'm mentioning that is, it is accessible for parents. Yeah. So what happened today is like, I want to share about her. She was my motivation even for many of us today. And her journey started like that. And another big calamity or whatever struck in 2012. In between, I wanted to go to Canada. I went there thinking I can take her there. But again, the government did not give her a PR because of her disability. I didn't stop there. There was a legal battle. And while it was still going on, I came back to India, having filed the case in the court, the Federal Court of Canada, on human rights values, because she was denied PR because of her disability. So I came back, and again, a big trauma. She was diagnosed with cancer. While she was here, I didn't know, the cancer was a very aggressive kind which grew, and she was in the 4th stage. They said she has only 10% to live. She survived that. She underwent, a terrible doctor experience that she said, the trauma of chemo. At least people like her, she's non-verbal. I'm speaking, I'm her voice today. So she couldn't express what was happening. She didn't know what was happening when she had this brain fever. Or even after she recovered, all she knew was that she's different. But that didn't stop her. From the age of 7, she loved dancing. So after her cancer, I didn't want her to, give up on whatever she has within herself. She has the same desires like you and me. She has to undergo the same lifestyle like you and me. So even before, I could go to Canada, or before she had cancer, she was a state 100 meters national gold medalist. And she had won many dance competitions. She had performed in the televisions. She had performed on many stages. But then, will cancer stop her from all that? I didn't want her to do that at all. So I took her. 2014, there was a national competition in Delhi under the government of Tamil Nadu. Under the government of India. It is under the Ministry of Empowerment and Social Justice. So I took her there to Delhi, and she was a special dance awardee in the category of cerebral palsy. They did not, though cerebral palsy is one of the 21 disabilities recognized by the government of India from 2016. But even at the competition, they were not given that status. They made her to compete with all the physically challenged. They made her to compete with the hearing impaired and other kind of disabilities, but not as a cerebral palsy. So I told the judges, no, you have to give her the right, because she has difficulties, and her difficulty is more pronounced only when she has to act upon it. When she dances, it gets more, displayed, or it becomes more spastic. So after cancer, it was very difficult, because the whole side, ma'am, became more dystonia. It will go into a cramping position 24/7. But I made her to take up the challenge, and she got the special prize. And then in 2018, there was a national para-athletics competition. I said, no, you have to come back. You can do it. In fact, she was motivating me, she got trained. I had one person to train her, and in the Patna para-athletics, she got the national gold medal for 100 meters running. So ma'am's thing was our trials and our triumphs. Triumph does not come without trials. Triumph will never come without trials. At the end of the tunnel, there is light at the end of the tunnel. So I don't want to say much, but I would just like to say a few words by ending on, and before that,
I brought out a book, and she does arts and crafts also.
this is a book. I've written it both in Tamil and English. In Tamil, it is Vinnai Tandi. Isn't that what she has done? And even you can do it. And in English, it is Fly Beyond the Sky. Every one of us can do it. Just don't get stagnated, or, don't worry when you have a trial. Everything is possible. And do not get dismayed. This is my message today. I just wanted to share these few lines. And she has been an inspiration for a movie called Peranbu. Director Ram, in 2004, I had met him. And when he saw her and when he met with us, heard my story, he recorded my story at that time. And then he said, "Ma'am, I will do a picture on such children." And it so happened he did it in 2016. And this is a story about a young girl with cerebral palsy, an adolescent girl. The challenges faced by the parents, the challenges faced by the person themselves, and a person who cannot express. But they have the same emotions. So that story, you all should see about it and see what it is about the life of anyone with challenges. So with these, I just would like to say, life is a challenge. Do not be dismayed when you are confronted. Always think, what is the situation trying to teach you? Can you do something about your situation? Do not lose hope, as each and every one of us have a purpose to fulfill. Even if you are disabled, we all have a disability or the other, poverty of thought, our attitude to life, expectations, throwing responsibility on others, and many more. These are our disabilities. Don't be selfish and think only of yourself and your situations. Think of what you can do for others also. That is something life has to teach us, as what ma'am is doing today and all others are doing. It brings us out how we can share our life with others. Every one of us has a responsibility to each other. We are the country that has not learned about giving. That is something I've always felt. We are not, I'm not saying everyone, but still people have to think about giving. Not monetary, but giving of the time. This is also we need. And there are 100% of them are looking out even for your friendship or even a phone call from you, whether you can give. And last of all, I would just like to say, make all your triumphs into triumphs. And be a phoenix bird, like my daughter.
Don't miss the beautiful smile on Priya's face. Okay? So she's obviously a happy person. Okay? Thank you so much. I'm sorry I'm having to force you
Yes.
about the time. I think it's because group captain is sitting there. There's some time limit on this hall for me. So I'm pushing you all because of that. I know each of your stories deserves a whole evening. So we are down next star, awardee 3. She could not be here. She is a person who had more than 10 seizures a month, a day, for many months, many years. From the age of 13 to 34, she couldn't even leave her house. In 34, she underwent epilepsy surgery. The first picture shows her immediately after her surgery. In the light, the second picture is, she's a person who never left, could not leave her house between the age of 13 and 34. The second picture is taken 2 years after her surgery, when she was living alone in London,
training to be a teacher. And when I visited her in London, I took her for lunch. And that's sitting in the train, I'm sitting in the train there. When she took a picture, we were taking her to a place called Linkfield, which is a school for children with epilepsy. And this picture right at the bottom was taken a couple of weeks ago. So her story, she will tell, I've got a recording. Good afternoon, everyone. Volume. Really wish I could have been there, because I couldn't manage to call especially no one, the doctor, the first thing we are so grateful. And Dr. Chary's beauty, resilience, and the ability to overcome setbacks, persevere through difficulties, and keep going forward in spite of difficulties. I would love to be present, and I keep trying, but in case I'm unable to hear my recording. And what I wanted to say, why Dr.Prithika Chary is one of our resilience champions. Dr. Chary, as we know, the first and only lady in India to be qualified and practicing as both neurophysician and neuroscientist. And founded a center to help eradicate ignorance and fear about epilepsy. With her experience in subject, because it's easy to become a student again, and link her knowledge and experience with soft skills and English consultancy is assessment for us all. We all go through these valleys, down challenges, and we admit our learning to become stress-free and getting reassured and guided by one we admire and respect makes such a big difference to both ourselves and to those around us. Mommy, today I forgot for a in school. I don't know. Were my words in 1979, age 14, unable to describe the feeling of starting 22 years as an epileptic thereafter. In spite of trying various treatments, probably all the other treatments anti-epileptic allopathy that there exist, Ayurvedic, herbal, homeopathic, Vedic, still some, studies have shown that absence of any marks at times can be classified as drug-resistant epilepsy, affecting 1/3 of adults and 20 to 25% of children. My epilepsy failed to come quickly under controlled medication. So for over 2 decades, that's 20 years, my devoted close one had to respond appropriately to an average frequency of 15 attacks, as we would call them, a month. Undoubtedly, besides developing the creative, theatrical talent, having the active smile and recognition every time I met, unremember. That's a new word in the epilepsy dictionary. Not unfamiliar. So it was familiar faces, but I couldn't recall their name. So much talent in theatre. These also developed on me, and yet feeling of guilt, of being a burden, simultaneously losing all my self-confidence, and subconsciously developing the urge to just run away. Does that sound familiar? Oh, hello! Well, it's been a while since we met, I would say, and it would be responded with joy, huh? We met just day before yesterday, can't you remember? For a movie, we went to the group. Oh, she won't remember. Those were the regular conversations I hear. The past 4 decades plus has been an attempt at 2 marriages, a success with 2 divorces, 6 surgeries, and 22 years now as a single part-time parent, varying identity. The latter, especially for those who now dedicate their life to children like I do as a teacher, and now a teacher trainer. So a part-time parent refers to me being loving children just like a mother would. So after that, she's been taking care of her mother with Alzheimer's. You can see that picture, she's taking care of her mother with Alzheimer's. And this is her story, and she's now propagating the positivity of recovery in epilepsy to a lot of the patients. So she is in Bangalore, she couldn't make it, so we can applaud her so she can see it on YouTube. Our next awardee is Mr. Govindarajan. I want to take this opportunity to just say a little bit about stroke
an early recognition of stroke, which is when you see somebody with a crookedness of the face suddenly happening, or a weakness of an arm, or a difficulty in speech, please understand it can be a stroke. So you need to very quickly reach a hospital with a stroke unit where it's possible to reverse the stroke if there are suitable candidates with something known as TPA. So Mr. Govindarajan, you can come. I like that. Just hold my little finger, he says.
Sir, my guy.
Wait.
Thank you, doctor. I know my doctor for more than 40 years from where Madras Medical College days to Kilpark Medical to T Nagar practice to Apollo Hospital to Kaveri Hospital. I was working for a medical company. I used to meet her. If I tell more about that, you will think that it's a partiality. No, it's not like that. I am going to be a desert for you. I will not take long time. You gulp your desert quickly, I will finish it up early. So that I am 65, I have tons and tons of things to say with my experience. One important thing after the stroke I can tell you is, you need your family support. Your wife should support you, your brothers and sisters and everybody should support you. For any medical problem you have, unless your family supports you, the medicine alone will not help. You have to take their support. So keep in good pace with every one of them, number one. Number two, for this disease, for the stroke, I would like to thank the stroke for three important reasons. One, it came to me after my parents' death. I just can't imagine my parents watching me like this. Number two, the same Madras Management Association, I was 6-time elected committee member. I used to attend all the meetings. I used to sign all the committees. Vijay, not to mistake me, okay? Our association is very short. They never gave me an opportunity to raise the dice for 6 years, and I have not seen this mic in my life. But today, the stroke has given me an opportunity, so I would like to thank my stroke for that. And third important is, many people are treating me like a god. There is a place near Chittoor, Paramanur, where they treat for this. I have sent many patients with my driver, with my car, because they don't know the location. It's inside a forest. They all have become very normal. Their wife or their children used to come to my house and ask me to photograph. They want to say, sir, you are the God. We want to keep, because the theory is very simple. When I lose electricity in my house, I don't want my neighbor to have electricity. So when I suffer with stroke, I don't want the other person to recover from the stroke. Okay, you may ask me a question, why I didn't recover. I went there after 1 year. Anybody who is going there within 15 days, they are recovering very fast. Two examples are, one is near Gopalapuram, there is an advocate. His son was crying in the hospital, in High Court one day. My friend of mine, who is also an advocate, recommended him to me. I gave the help. His mother used to call me frequently and ask for my picture, saying that you are my God. The other version is, I am owning a shop in Valicheri. I don't want to sit at home idle with a problem and looking at the TV and all. So, I am doing a lot of activities, like I am a regular faculty in Chartered Accountancy Institute. 7 hours I used to stand and take class. That's why when she said, I'll give you a mic, I said, no, I don't want. Because I've seen my school teachers never sitting and taking the class. So I don't want to sit and take. In that shop, I am owning a shop, and in that shop, adjacent building is a Ujjivan Small Finance Bank. The manager's father had a stroke. He came to me, my father is admitted in Rainy Hospital, can you help me out? I told him, tomorrow morning my driver will come to your house at 4 o'clock, he will take you, it will solve the problem. He came to my shop, the father, within a week's time. I'm not joking. My doctor may not agree. They give some liquor, pepper, garlic and some leaves mixed with. You'll have to sit in your car. In the car moving, they will pour it in your mouth. They'll take so much boiled rice, put it and close your mouth. That's all. Second round, you have to come there within 45 minutes. Again, they will do. Third time, you are normal. I don't know what is that. Many Dr. Neena, my friend Neena may have, you heard of this, man?
I've been there.
Yeah? Yes. It is happening there. Medical miracle.
See, actually, end of the day, we want our patients to be okay.
Yeah. Doctor, I'm coming to that. Doctor, I'm coming to that. When first time when I went there, because of pressure from my wife, she took me. We touched Vellore around 6 o'clock. From there we went to Chittoor. Down the forest we were going. I was scared because the boats were there. Crocodile will cross, snake will cross, tiger will cross, this will cross and all. So with lot of fear, I went inside because I can't run. My wife can run, the driver can run, but I can't run. So I was scared. Suddenly I saw some 500 cars, latest Benz car, latest BMW car, latest Audi car, everything are parked there. Ambulance with best of the best ICU facilities there. From the patients from Bangalore and Hyderabad, straight away they are brought to the place in their ICU and they walk back. You can check with anybody. There are a lot of YouTubes available in that and it is true. So the people whom I have recommended, they are all treating like a god. So I am very happy about it. No, that's what I am telling you. See, that everything is because of the stroke. So I am celebrating my disease. Maybe I read a book called Joy of Cancer at a very young age. It's a beautiful book written by a Times of India editor. If you read the book, whatever problem you have, nothing should happen to you. Whatever anything happens, you will not cry because the book is so informative and so beautiful it is. With this, I say thank you. Wish you all a happy new year. God bless you all.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Our last awardee for the evening is Meenakshi. She has a condition known as multiple sclerosis. If you look at the nerves here, you'll see a normal nerve and the nerve with multiple sclerosis. The outer covering sheath gets destroyed, and this can cause different kinds of disabilities. It can cause all kinds of disabilities, starting from vision and weakness of the limbs and all that. And she, in spite of her multiple sclerosis and some limitations and all that, she is a yoga teacher, and she'll tell you her story. Just time yourself. Okay. One minute. And she is in charge of the Multiple Sclerosis Society of India. In Chennai. Thank you, Doctor.
After hearing all of them talk, I like to be like a fly in the wall. I don't have much to say. And maybe until 25, I was a go-getter. I like to plan and live my life. I make plans for everything. So we decided we get married, we have kids after 2 years, then we have the next kid. Everything went like how we planned, or how I planned, I should say. And my first delivery was very traumatic. I had everybody around me, but nothing went like I imagined. So it was very difficult. Like he said, I'm lying in the bed in the hospital and doctors are discussing whether they can bring the child out alive or not. And I'm hearing to it, and they are discussing it over a cup of coffee. And I desperately want to get up and say, do something. And I think that passed after I saw the child's face. It really made me faint that, okay, my child is still alive. And after 2 years, we had another child, and completely without medical intervention. I said, no injection, no tablets, nothing. I'm going to go into the hospital. Only I timed every contraction, and until it was like 30 seconds away, I stayed at home because I was afraid to go to the hospital. I told my husband, we had a hurricane. That time I said, sanitize your hands and be ready. If the child comes out before we reach the hospital, you are the one who's going to deliver it for me. We reached on time. The child was born within 1 hour of reaching there. They said, you are completely dilated and it's going to, don't do anything. Child is going to push and come out. He was a preterm baby. That was the most happiest moment in my life. I was the healthiest and happiest during that pregnancy, and I felt really strong. And 25 days after that, hip down, the left side of my body got numb. I couldn't feel anything. And there was lots of pins and needles. As it was a natural pregnancy and delivery, I wanted to feed my baby as long as I can. I wanted to be there for my kids. My elder one was only 2. So I just wanted to be there, but we ran from doctors to doctors trying to figure out what it was. They said everything from pinched nerve during the baby coming out, or most of them didn't have answers, but everybody had a pill, either a nerve relaxant or a muscle relaxant, which made me really drowsy, and I was drooling, and that was not what I wanted to portray to my kids as a parent. I used to keep feeding my child. I used to drowse off. The child used to roll down the bed, and my toddler was only 1 around. And that was the most difficult times. It went on like that. We met, I think, a lot of doctors, neurologists, general physicians, physiotherapists. Nobody had an answer. And finally, after a year and a half, we went to a doctor and said, give me just a diagnosis. Without that, don't give me medication, don't give me prescription, nothing. I don't want any of them. And after a lumbar puncture and a lot of MRIs, I was diagnosed with MS. We really didn't know what it was. We were very confused, and there was a fear. We didn't even want to look up what it was. And the doctor sat right in front of us. She was more emotional. She was tear-eyed, and she said, your kids are very small. In like 6-7 years, you may be in a wheelchair. We didn't understand a word, but we didn't want to give up. We said, okay, what should we do now? She said, okay, these are the medications. So you said if I diagnose, you're going to take the medication. So take them from now. So I took the medication for around 7 months. I was getting better physically, I would say. But I was losing my mental stability. I was afraid to be alone with my own kids. I was afraid if I could harm them. And my husband was always there. He had to take a month or 2 off, sit at home so that I don't see my own kids. And then I said, okay, these medications are really helping me physically, but I'm not a mother anymore. So I said, okay, what should I do? We said, I really wanted to help myself, but we didn't know how we can do it. So we came back to India. We said, okay, we'll have a support system there at least. We'll come here I didn't want to go to any doctor or anywhere. I said, I'm going to heal myself. I did that for almost 5 years. I said, okay, I'm just going to, okay, this is there, but I'm not going to take medication. I'm going to try to be a mother. Because when I'm taking the medication, I know I'm losing myself. So there were periods where I'm really angry, really irritated, and everything, but I was really afraid. I used to take an MRI every year. No medications, but get a test done so that it's not too late to act upon. So Dr. Bhuvneshwari is here. I used to ritually go to her every March, take an MRI, show her the reports and say, no, I'm not taking medications yet. Can I come back after 1 year? She used to say, okay, fine, go back, come after a year. And this went on, and my mom was down with TB last year. So there was a lot of stress around, we had to take care and everything, and I had a lot number of lesions again. So when I went with the last MRI, she said, you're going to come back to me in 6 months and we're going to put you on medication. I said, no, I'm not coming back. And I've not met her after that. And there is this fear factor with medications, and sometimes I feel, am I even doing justice to the supportive husband? A lot of people, you say, your kids are really, they don't bother you at all. I'll say that's how much they have gone through. I can't explain what my toddler has gone through. From feeding her younger brother to, she's been my mom all through those years. And I think when I decided I should do something about it, I came across yoga. Thing that made a big difference to my life. I was still not ready to tell people about the MS I have or talk to them about my limitations, that I can't travel for long, the fatigue, how it used to bother, or even now my parents don't know what MS is. I started teaching people with Parkinson's. So my teacher used to say, whenever she used to give me a student, she'll say, this person has a lot of things that you also have. So try not to mimic it, try to heal them and see how you are healing. So every person I taught in the Parkinson's Society was a healing to myself, mentally, physically, emotionally. That gave me a lot of strength. That is when I found out there is a society for MS. I didn't know that. 5 years in Chennai, I didn't know we had MSSI Chennai chapter. When I met them, it was like eye-opening. There is a lot of people with a lot of disabilities, but they were very happy. Whenever I used to see Ann ma'am, I used to be full of energy. Say, okay, I'm going to do something for people with MS also. Like how I help myself, I'm going to try and help people with MS. So I think the purpose, that's what wakes me up every morning. The kids, the family, everything. But there is something which I want to do, which I love to do, and gives purpose for me to be here, is that. I think that is what got this. And I'm really thankful. Thank you.
Dr. Maria wants to give me another episode. Why I don't know, but anyway. For the honor, ma'am, for giving us. Please open that. It's a painting done. Oh, with one hand. We'll do that. With one hand, you have done a painting. She does it with one hand, a technique called marbling, and it is also occasional skill. You can order it. It's faster than wow. Come all the time. Come to the center.
When you want that. No.
So that brings us to the end of today's function. I hope all of you feel enlightened, empowered, and inspired. Can I request everyone to please stand up for the national anthem? நீங்க போடணும்.
See how much warriors we have in our country.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उज्जल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगल दायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Normally after the Janagana Mana, there is no talking, but I have to thank every one of you and MMA in particular for making all such excellent arrangements. Group Captain Vijay Kumar and the entire team at MMA, my own personal team, Jeevita, Salai, Dr. Bhuvaneshwari, her mother Pushpa, all of them, Sheila, all of them who have pitched in, Balaji, who have helped me to do this function. Most of it I just sort of worked it out myself. And it worked out to this, I think, and I hope that all of you felt you spent your afternoon in something which is more powerful than you. Thank you. I haven't said the New Year greetings. I already said it earlier, but I'll say it again. Happy New Year, happy 2023 to everybody. Right.
Thank you.